I guess you heard the news on yesterday that the January 6th committee, the marriage team of Benny Thompson and Liz Cheney, have sent a letter to Sean Hannity, very popular, if you will, cable news host on Fox News for many years, that he is being asked to voluntarily come in to testify before the January 6th committee. They wrote a 7-page letter indicating why they wanted him to come in, some of the text messages that they have gotten from Mark Meadows that Sean Hannity sent to Mark Meadows and also to Tribulation Trump, and also to those that John Eastman and Rudy Giuliani and Bernard Carrick and the Sidney Powell that were in the war room at the Willard Hotel, and that somehow or another Sean Hannity was involved in all. So they've explained to him what they want from him. They have some questions they'd like to ask. What did he know and when did he know it? I think it's what they want to do. And so I find this fascinating. So I thought I would ask you some questions because I figure you're pretty smart. Anybody listening to me got to be absolutely stomped down smart. So I figure you'll have the answers. So I want to ask the question about this whole matter since they have sent him a letter requesting Sean Hannity to come in and testify before the committee. What do you think? Do you think Sean will testify? You think he'll come in? What do you think? What are the odds that he'll come in? Or has he already designated or stated, he's going to do a Steve Bannon, or he's going to do a Mark Meadows, or he's going to do whatever it is he's going to do? What do you think he's going to do? Will he come in and testify? That's a question. And maybe at some point today, the news will break or we'll get an answer. But one of the reasons why, and my question number two, one of the reasons, the preface to the question number two, is that the reason why this letter was so long that they wrote to him, and it was very skillfully penned, this letter, very well thought out, because they couched the question and reason for questioning him in such a way as that he can't hide behind claiming a First Amendment free speech rights. That is to say, he's a broadcaster, and he has freedom of the press rights, so he has a right to communicate with Trump, has a right to communicate with Trump in secret. They wrote the letter in such a way as that it's going to be very difficult. It's going to take a Clarence Darrow to be able to get around the fact that he can't claim First Amendment rights, freedom of the press, and freedom of speech. He's not going to be able to do that, but he may try it. So what do you think? You think he'll try that? And then my third question about Sean Hannity is that if he doesn't willingly come in to testify, question number three is that will the committee subpoena him? Will they send that boy a subpoena? That's one of them legal requests, one of those legal RSVP. It's a legal RSVP. It's a legal invitation. Come or go to jail, one or the other. So will they subpoena Sean? And this is going to be very interesting. And he's one of the higher profile people. Mark Meadows is high profile. And Steve Bannon. Well, Steve Bannon and Alex Jones, they're going to have fun with this. I tell you, it's better they not have fool with Alex Jones or Steve Bannon. They're going to run this to the hilt. And, Alex may decide to go to jail. You never know what Alex is going to do. You never know. Steve Bannon, they may decide to go to jail. They probably only get 30 days and then come out richer and more powerful and more popular than the president. So I think it was a mistake that Alex Jones and Steve Bannon. But now, Sean Hannity is a different case. So will they subpoena him? If they subpoena him, will he respond? My fourth question on this whole matter of Sean Hannity is that if he ignores the subpoena, will he lose his audience by then beginning to look a bit unpatriotic, beginning to look a bit gangstified, like all the other gangsters hanging out with Trump? Would that take away some of his shine as a broadcaster? to refuse. So here's the deal. I mean, if it was just about a story that he had and they didn't want to reveal the sources, that's one thing. That goes on all day long. But this is about the assault on the temple of democracy. This is a very serious issue, my friend. This is a revolution. We are at war. A revolution got started, a revolutionary war physically got listen, January 6th of 2021 was a Fort Sumter or Concord or Boston Massacre. We are at revolutionary war. The king and the subjects are at war. So this isn't just about source of information that usually freedom of the press and freedom of speech and reporters can hide behind. So Sean, if he tries to make that argument, I don't think it's going to fly. I'm not a lawyer, but I know enough about the whole process. I don't think it's going to fly. But will his audience, some of his audience, because some of his audience were probably not on the side of supportive of this assault on the temple of democracy. Some of the people are not out there talking about this was Antifa, or it was a sprinkling of Black Lives Matter, or it was the FBI that actually did it. These weren't really MAGA hat. These really were Trump supporters that walked in there that day carrying that Confederate flag and climbed that wall like Spider-Man. They were all FBI people. That's crazy. I swear for God and 7 other white people. For anybody to believe that this was the FBI doing it. And by the way, 70 people have been sent to jail. FBI agents don't go to jail. At any rate, so some of Sean's listeners and supporters of his broadcast for years, like myself, for instance, might think, well, this might be a bit unpatriotic. So he might lose some of his shine. He might not be able to tell people you're a good American, you're a great American anymore, because he himself would become an anti-American. He's at a crossroads here. I think they got him in their cross sights too. On the other hand, if you go and testify willingly, the people that are hardcore MAGA hat wearing MAGA nation people, they will call him a sellout, a snitch. If he just says, okay, I'll come in willingly and speak, that ain't gonna sit well with him either. So that boy is between a rock and another rock. It'd be something else if he was between a hard place, he might be able to get out. That boy's between a rock and a stone, Sean Hannity. And I'm watching, it's gonna be very interesting to watch what Sean Hannity does. He got caught up in this whole business of Trump, Trumporia, Trumpism, and, he got caught up in little by little. I am so thankful to God that I got off that Trump train early. Lord have mercy. I wouldn't know what to do myself. I couldn't shave unless I did it with a dark mirror if I stayed on that Trump train, because I'd be going along with all that stuff that Trump did. I'd be supporting all that, them people climbing the wall like Spider-Man, not breaking into the Capitol building. I'd have to support all of that. I'd have to support all the lies that Trump has told rather. I am so glad I got off that Trump train early on. God knows, because the longer you stay on it, the harder it is to get off. And it was hard for me to get off. It wasn't easy. I had to confess, that I made a mistake by endorsing them. I had to confess it. I had to say it was wrong. I don't mind doing it. If it's wrong, it's wrong. I ain't perfect. I don't nobody expect me to be perfect. I ain't perfect. I'm almost though. I'm yay about Noah. So I had to confess. I got off. I'm so glad I got. And Sean Hannity started riding that train along with a whole lot of other people. Started riding that train, and now they can't get off. They can't get off that train. And so I'll see what he's going to do. He's going to lose audience no matter what. I prognosticated that Sean was going to probably resign Fox News. I mean, you're sitting there with Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson got the biggest audience now. And Tucker Carlson sit there, looked like a little boy that got to go to the bathroom and got to go bad. You ever see Tucker Carlson? I swear before God, 7 other white people. That boy looked like he got to go to the bathroom and he got it bad. Number 2. Anyway, but I thought I thought that Sean Hannity was gonna resign. Maybe he will not. I don't know. But he's not gonna come out of this clean. He's gonna come out of this very well scathed by this process. Everything that Trump touches rots. It does. Everybody who's ever been associated with him have come out of it for the worst. Nobody, but nobody. That's why I'm so glad I got off that train. Listen to me, friends. Listen to me. You may not ever hear me say anything else is true, but nobody comes away from a relationship with Trump better off. I mean, nobody. Nobody. And I mean, and why is it that it takes people, why is it so difficult for people to see that? Nobody comes away from Trump. Rudy Giuliani, come on now. I used to like Rudy Giuliani. I mean, I had my reservations about him, but otherwise, I mean, okay, he was fighting out. One of the things he fought Al Sharpton and let Al Sharpton get a whole lot of publicity when he didn't have to. But I used to like Giuliani. Giuliani lost his law license. He's a stumble-bum drunk. Who knows where he's at right now? He may be walking the streets of New York this morning in a house coat, drunk as a skunk. Rudy Giuliani. The man used to be America's mayor. Nobody, I tell you, nobody, but no, I don't care who you are. You deal with Trump, you're going to come out of there. You may go in as sugar, but you're going to come out, well, this is a family show, so, But you get the idea what you're going to come out as. So Sean Hannity, I think his days are numbered. I think that Benny Thompson got his eye on him, and if he don't volunteer, they're going to go. I think that as well, they're going to have a whole lot of high-profile hearings starting this month. And this stuff is going to get real soft. We're in the tribulation. You know that, right? We had the Bible. I don't believe that tribulation. I pre-trib. These Southern Baptists, all they pre-trib, All right, so the other thing is that I think Sean's going to lose his audience. And I also, if he does get indicted, if he does get subpoenaed and don't show up, will Merrick Garland indict him? And, this thing's going to get really, really, this is going to be a real bloody year. I'll tell you, I said that at the beginning of the year. I knew this is 2022 ain't going to be, listen, this is not going to be, nobody's going to have anything to say good about this year except those are members of ATLAH. And then not only that, but will Fox News lose or gain in this battle? I think that Fox News has already lost an incredible amount of their viewers to Newsmax, the QAnon, and America One News, and some others as well. I think they've lost millions of Newsmax. That guy was real sneaky the way he came in on. And now this guy, My Pillow guy, the My Pillow guy, he's got his own broadcast as well. So the Fox is on his way out. That's why they're allowing Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham to push the edges of everything just to keep the real, if you will, sycophants line up with Fox. Because Newsmax is coming on strong. QAnon and One America News and, My Pillow guy. But what is it that Sean may know? I'd be very interested to see how all that's going to turn out. At any rate, everybody, I'm James Evan Manning. I'm the Lord's servant, and don't you ever forget it. Just think what my life would be like if I decided to embrace Black Lives Matter, or embrace Obama, or embrace blackness and defend people like Andrew Brown or Michael Brown or Trayvon Martin, or if I embraced LGBTQ and said, man, and myself perform marriages. Imagine the wealth that I would have. Imagine how often you see me on the news and all the people of the community would be worshiping and saying what a great preacher and great pastor I am. You do know that would happen, right? I want you to consider that I will not and never under any circumstance nor the threat of death ever go anywhere near thinking about doing anything as satanic as that. But what I do want to ask you to do is to consider my righteousness. I'm the Lord's servant, and you might want to help me. You might want to say, well, listen, especially if you're at retirement age and your life is settled and your income's, you're pretty much settled for the rest of your days, but you have excess, so you have what you can give, and you can make this ministry. You can further this word to reach the 50,000 righteous men through your giving. Maybe you have stocks, or you have bonds, or you have properties, houses, or land, or jewelry. that you could just give to the ministry. Cars, automobiles, paintings. I'm just going to give them to that ministry. If Jesus is coming back to Harlem, to 123rd Street, then I want to give my possessions to prepare a place for him. Jesus said he's going to prepare a place for us, but I'm going to give my possessions, my paintings, my gold, my jewelry, my stocks, my land, my property, my houses, to prepare a place for him when he comes back, that the land would truly be holy ground for James David Manning and his servant. Thank you for doing that. You'll know how to give. The Lord will show you how, but start doing it immediately. Time is of the essence.
Teacher said.